So everyone, we finally got our hands on the Switch 2 Pro controller. I wanted to do a quick unboxing, compare it to some of the competition out there, like some Pro controllers from other consoles as well, to see what it feels like overall, and see if this is actually a good option for anybody that's going to put hours and hours and hours of gameplay, and again, some serious gameplay on the brand new Switch 2. So without further ado, let's unbox this thing, get the first impressions, and see what it's all about. Let's get into it. Well, right, let's get this Pro controller open and see what we're dealing with. But this is the packaging, and this does retail for $84.99. So depending on who you are, this could be worth it. This kind of falls in between the regular controllers that you would get from other companies like Xbox, which I believe are $49 or $59. And then you also have the Pro level counterpart for the Xbox, which I believe is over $100, and you can go and spend a good amount of money on a Pro level controller, especially a first party one. This one is by PowerA, and we'll compare it in a second. But I did want to mention that this is going to be the Pro controller for the Switch 2. There will be some cheaper alternatives from third parties, especially if you just want to deal with some Joy-Cons and things like that, but overall, this is $84.99, and actually a pair of Joy-Cons I believe is $89.99, so do take that into account. But let's rip this thing open and see what we got. The packaging should be pretty simple. Here we have the box right here. It lets you know a little bit about the Pro controller itself, how to connect it, how to wire it in. It says, before the first use, charge the controller with the Nintendo Switch 2 AC adapter or the included USB-C cable, and we'll look at that in a second. Put this off to the side. So we do have an included USB-C to USB-A cable, which USB-C side goes under the controller, I'm imagining, and USB-A side can be plugged in directly to the Switch 2 dock. There is no USB-A port on the regular Switch, or the Switch console itself. You do need to be connected to the dock. Let's move this out of the way, roll this off, and kind of see what we're dealing with here. Ooh, so immediately you do start to feel how nice this thing is. It does have a kind of matte finish, a little bit more on the rubbery side. If you've ever used an older Apple product, like maybe the Magic Keyboard for the iPad or the Slim Folio keyboard for the iPad as well, it has that same texture, kind of like a rubberized, soft touch feel. You have all the buttons that you would need here, and of course, like I mentioned, it is USB-C. And like I mentioned, it is USB-C up here. You have your two analog sticks over here, which are clickable, and they're so quiet. It's crazy how quiet they are. Normally, especially with the cheaper controllers, they're very clicky or clacky, for lack of a better term, but they are very quiet. If I put it next to... the microphone can barely pick it up because of how quiet it is. Then you have your D-pad here, which also... it has a mushy feeling, but I mean that in the best way possible. Normally when you describe something as mushy, it isn't a good thing, but it's kind of like a mushy, soft touch, and it's just very satisfying to press down. Again, you can kind of hear it, but not quite as much, which is going to be great for gaming at night, especially if you're gaming next to somebody else who's sleeping. Then you have your trigger buttons on top, left and right. You have your ZL and your ZR. You have your plus minus over here as well. You have your X, Y, B, A buttons, which are big, especially compared to a regular Xbox controller, which is over here. The buttons are bigger, so they're easier to press, but the actual controller, the footprint, is smaller and more comfortable in the hand, I would say. So if I grab this one versus this one, I kind of like how that this is a little bit smaller, a little bit more narrow on the actual holder. So when you're holding it like this, it does feel a little bit more narrow. And again, I mean that in a good way. So if even smaller hands are able to actually play with this. And I think that's kind of the reason why. Because of the fact that there is a target demographic which is younger with smaller hands, it makes it a lot easier to hold, but still big enough where somebody with normal hands, again, normal hands over here, is able to comfortably hold this thing with no problems whatsoever. But you do also have your home button, your select button, and then you do have your chat room button right here, which is brand new on all first-party Switch 2 accessories or Switch 2 controllers. There's also one on your right Joy-Con out of the box itself, so do keep that in mind. You do have some additional buttons. You have your GR and your GL. I don't really know what that G stands for. Leave a comment down below if you know what that means. And then on the bottom, you do have your 3.5mm headphone jack. But overall, I'm loving this controller, how it looks, how it feels, how lightweight it is. And again, comparing it to an Xbox controller, this one is by PowerA, so it's not a first-party Xbox controller, but it is their Pro one, which I believe is $129. And same thing, you do have your analogs, but it is a bit clickier in terms of sound, right? This one versus this, it's kind of has like a dampening sound in there, so it's almost like it's soundproofed a little bit. But overall, huge fan, and let me know if you guys are picking one of these up and if you think it's worth it. I, for one, definitely think it's worth it, especially if you are planning on playing with other people. So you have this controller as well as 2 Joy-Cons that come with the actual Switch 2 console itself, so you can play some multiplayer games when you are docked up or when you are in like tablet mode, which is good to see. So Switch 2, it'll be the first link in the description below. The console is, I think, pretty much in stock at most places right now. The Pro Controller as well for $84.99. And like I said, I do recommend it if you guys want to try it out. That's going to be the Switch 2 Pro Controller in a nutshell. Peace, everybody. If you did make it to the end, leave a little dolphin in the comments down below so I know you made it to the end. Leave a comment down below if you were able to pick one up. And lastly, if you guys want to watch more videos like this one, especially our hands-on unboxing and first impressions of the Switch 2, it's this video right here. Until next time, I'm Fernando. Peace, everyone.